Welcome, one and all, to Call of Duty Challengers Elite. It's time for the final playoffs of the season. My name is Infinity. I'll be casting winners round one matchup with my good friend Proper. Andy, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing great. I could not ask for a better Tuesday. I get to spend it with you, Daniel, and Jacko here inside the Clutch GG Discord server, man. It's going to be a great day for at least one best of five here on the stream.
Yeah, indeed it will be. Apologies for how blurry I am right now, by the way. Not too sure what's going on.
You're in the Matrix, bro. Come back.
Yeah, you know what? I probably think this is probably the best. I look like an utter mess today, so you guys aren't going to see that. But regardless, as long as you can hear me well, that's all fine and dandy. We have a brilliant match to kick things off with today and probably to end things with as well. Amy Sports versus Rocker Academy. And I swear, we get handed the best matches every single time without fail. Like, I don't know how this happens, but we get blessed every broadcast, man.
Yeah, I mean, E Clasico is coming right back to our awaiting arms, Brody. I was going over the matches last night, looking at T-War versus the Wubba Bubs. That's happening on the main broadcast. And then where Rocker versus this AIM Esports roster was going to be going towards. And we get it. I mean, it feels like every single time that these two teams are facing up against each other, we always end up getting it. We get to end up seeing the testament as old as Call of Duty's history, with 8 out of the total 9 Spanish players in total going up against each other.
Yeah, indeed. It's going to be interesting for sure. These guys, I swear as well, I think the other thing we should probably note going into this matchup is this is what, the fourth or the fifth time these guys have faced off against each other in the last few weeks. It's just insane just how much these guys go at one another, and they should have a good feel for how each other play by this point, right, Andy?
Yeah, I mean, if you go back just as far as recency is concerned, you're right to talk about just within the month tenure. They, at least in tournament standards, this will be the fourth time that these two teams are going up against each other. Aside from scrims, whatever that may look like in tournament format alone, they did end up playing against in round robin stage because that's how it ends up working. Where of course AIM Esports did end up beating Rocker 3-0. But then you go in the recency for the cup number 13, the final cup for Vanguard, by the way, this past weekend. Well, Rocker actually sticked it to AIM Esports, not once, but twice over. Once in the winners finals, once in the grand finals. Now, I don't know the maps that were played. I don't know the series record that was played either. All I can tell you is that Rocker won them both times, and they did not allow AIM Esports to reset the bracket in grands.
Yeah, it's interesting for sure, isn't it? Because of course we go back to the stage or season 4 matchup. Excuse me, that was an AIM victory, and it was an AIM victory by 3-0. The maps were relatively close, if I remember. At least the control I think was around number 5, and the search and destroy was around 11. So there is that to note. But of course, again, it comes down to AIM. I think if we compare kind of how these two teams have looked over the course of season 4, I think really since the roster swap right between these two rosters. I think you and I would probably be on the same page that AIM have looked like the better roster, right? But Rocker Academy, they've made stride this season, specifically in Search and Destroy. They went from a terrible S&D team to, I think they're actually statistically
They're the
speaking
number
the
one search
best
and destroy
S&D
team,
team, yeah, in Europe right now. So yeah, looking pretty good at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, nothing that you can really scoff at, right? I mean, 7-3 for Search and Destroy throughout season 4 of the Elite so far. It's nothing necessarily that you want to be going up against if you are AIM Esports, because on the other side of things, you're not necessarily boasting all that much success comparatively. I mean, maybe just that one extra loss comparatively to the win, but I'm talking about how cleanly and how clinical Rocker Academy have looked on Search and Destroy. This is a pivotal game mode for them going forward, where they've always really been relying on their respawns back when they were still playing with Journey from seasons 1 and 2. And now coming in towards season 4, you can start to see that this team is really starting to gel together. There was still a little bit more of a detach, I would say, even going back and overwatching this team back in Toronto. And now it's all just looking very, very clean. Lucky coming into the SMG role, talking about that roster swap. Again, Journey now over to AIM, and then picking up Sukri as their main AR. Lucky's now that main SMG that's really instigating these first bloods. It's really helped and paid dividends for their Search and Destroy success.
Indeed, it has. Right, I mean, let's talk about each individual team then while we've got a little bit of time. Actually, I think we have a bracket to show you guys, at least, because I think that's probably the best idea. We can show you guys exactly what's happened leading into Season 4. Of course, there are 4 teams currently going at it right now. Amy Sports and Rocker Academy are 2 of those teams, obviously, but we should let you guys know as well, there is another match going on concurrently to this one. That is the other Winners Bracket Round 1 matchup. That is between Team War and Wobba Bob. So make sure you guys go check that out. If you want to, that is at youtube.com/COD challenges. But it is interesting, isn't it? Because you've got one team that isn't here, Andy. Toronto Ultra Academy, you didn't make it into Season 4 playoffs.
No, they didn't, and that's what's very, very awkward when you're thinking about the grander scheme of things. Your former champions for Season 3 of Challengers Elite for Europe are not currently playing in playoffs at this juncture of time. It really always feels like, those top 5 teams are always trying to beckon to try to make it into playoffs. We really did feel like that Ultra was going to be one of those teams, at least looking at them on paper, but you go back and you look at some of their series losses. That map 5 loss versus Rocker, that was alarming. Early on, they lost to AIM Esports 1-3, and then a Wubba Bubs to open up their week 2 matches in round robin. Things were not exactly as comfortable as you would hope for Ultra Academy EU, though. They do get a little bit of asterisks for me personally. Obviously, we would love to see them here in playoffs, but they are messing with it. What is now their 4th roster swap. You lose to Harry originally, then you get Gizmo, and then you end up playing with Rafi, going back to the Pro-Am, and now you're playing with Wee Man. So it always feels like this team is playing with a certain lack of practice for Ultra Academy EU, but now they have to really piece it together ahead of the Boston Challengers Open.
Yeah, indeed. I think it is interesting for sure, right? Looking at it again, this is just kind of how Call of Duty Vanguard has been this season. We could well be looking at our 4th unique victor here in Challengers Elite, especially considering, of course, it means that we will not be seeing the 2-peat coming out from Toronto Ultra Academy EU. But regardless, those are the 4 teams that will be facing off against one another for the title over the next couple of days. I think we should talk about the map set, though, about this best of 5 specifically. Now, we don't have a nice fancy graphic to show you guys the map set, but we can at least describe it for you at home. We will be kicking things off with a Tuscan Hardpoint, followed up by a Berlin Search and Destroy. Berlin Control for the map number 3 in the series, and then if we need them, of course, to Gavutu Hardpoint and Desert Siege Search and Destroy. Andy, there are moments in sort of playoffs and even in round robin stages where you and I are sitting there scratching our heads about the veto process of this team. This is one of those moments where I'm like, how on earth do you let Tuscan Hardpoint and Berlin Search and Destroy into a best of 5 against AIM? They haven't lost those two. It's confusing to me.
I mean, clearly, Rocker Academy got to be feeling some sort of success when it comes to the Tuscan Hardpoint to allow such a map mode combination to come all the way through again. I don't know what was played throughout Winners Finals and Grand Finals back in Cup number 13 for both Winter Finals and Grand Finals between these two teams, but maybe Tuscan Hardpoint was one of them. Maybe Rocker Academy were able to take it, whether it's looking at scrims or within Cup number 13. It's hard to say, right? Because Rocker Academy, as far as Season 4 of Elite is concerned, they are 1-1 on Tuscan Hardpoint. They did end up losing to Ultra Academy EU 215 to 250, and then they ended up beating a Wubba Bubs 250 to 179 in that map for Barn Burner, which was honestly a spectacle to behold, where Lucky and Metals were going absolutely AWOL throughout the entirety of it. But yeah, to veto out Bocage versus this team of AIM Esports is one of those head-scratching moments. And to not get rid of the Tuscan, which they are 5-0 on, Brody, for crying out loud. I mean, this AIM Esports roster as a whole, this is just something that you should probably think about getting rid of, because again, 5-0, their overall differential for this map is a positive 64 points. More often than not, they are winning this each rotation by a solid 35, if not 40 points against different teams. But against all the different top teams, they have won it every single time. You would really feel like that Rocker Academy in their back of house, maybe some of their camp would probably sit there and converse. Maybe we want to actually face them on a Bocage where we can keep things scrappy rather than play it against on Tuscan.
Yeah, we'll see. It is just a weird, again, we say it all the time. Obviously, these players know what they're doing, but to a certain extent, we can look at the statistics on our end and be like, yeah, we're just kind of confused as to how this has happened. But regardless, maybe this is a secret weapon. They're going to be really good at Tuscan Hardpoint, and they'll amaze us in the first map of this best of 5. Regardless, though, we're still going to make you guys wait a little bit for that. We're going to send it to a break. When we return, we're going to have map number 1 here between AIM Esports and Rocker Academy. See you after the break. Alrighty, folks, it's time for some Call of Duty. Apologies for the delay there. We had to get some players in the lobby and our observer too, but it's okay because we're ready to get underway here between AIM Esports and Rocker Academy, and we're kicking things off with a former of those two teams. Andy, we didn't mention this. We neglected to mention this before we got into the match, but this is actually currently the #1 Hardpoint team in Europe, and that is not a surprise. That's pretty consistent with what we've seen in previous seasons.
Yeah, #1 Hardpoint team going up against the #1 Search and Destroy team. And on this very map load combination, again, just to bring it home one more time, AIM Esports 5-0 as far as Tuscan Hardpoint through Season 4 of Challengers Elite is concerned. They've taken out the best, and well, even going back to that best of 5 that they played versus Rocker Academy in that round-robin stage, they were able to beat them in a 3-0 fashion. Starting off with the favorite side of the map were AIM Esports, and that doesn't mean that they're going to have an easier rotation. It just means that they get a little bit more coverage to the middle of the map. They lose the returning gunfights of a Rocker Academy, being able to boast about 24 seconds or so on P1 itself, but AIM Esports coming right back into the thick of it. They win the gunfights, and they storm through the middle of the map, forcing Rocker to spawn out.
A good opportunity here for AIM Esports right off the rip to get a good amount of time, of course, though. It is very easy for Rocker Academy to fight this one from the front, and it's very helpful. You have an AR up top on towards the patio side watching over proceedings. Also, Metals inside the hardpoint, but he is going to fall. So AIM Esports now, they've got some pressure over here. Yakko's starting to soak up some time. Journey inside that patio area, and he's picking up kills as well. A couple that will hold them through. And for Rocker Academy here, with 30 seconds left, I mean, again, you've got to keep this at the back of your mind, right? We talk about this all the time when it comes to P2, as these kills do come through from AIM. You don't want to apply too much pressure here because it's very easy to get flipped out.
Yeah, I mean, even contesting for about like 15, 20 seconds, like that is a job well done when you're looking at it from Rocker's perspective. Now you got to take a keen focus on the rotation, but they're losing gunfights in the middle of the map. Yakko jumps up inside of fire. He'll find Real seemingly for free, and that means that Super's flank that's coming through over by Ivy is a little bit more potent because Yakko's applying more pressure inside of P5. This allows Eric Boom to storm on forward. It comes down to Metals inside of Wine to go big.
Metals has a lot to do here. Gets the first kill, took that second, but cannot find it versus Yakko. Fortunately for him, though, Sukri is there, and the trades are in favor of Rocker Academy for the moment, but Sukri is alone at the back here. He's facing down both Super and Journey, the former of which falls, the latter of which falls too. Sukri wastes enough time so that the cavalry can arrive. Rocker Academy, they are here in spades. They are ready to go versus this AIM Esports lineup who now should continue to spawn over towards Ruin side. A good opportunity here for Rocker Academy to get a ton of time. Can AIM give this away though? Eric Boom trying to find his way on through. Super just looking to pre-aim around the back line here, and as those AIM players are going to spawn here, or good fall here, excuse me, at Rocker Academy, they'll be feeling pretty happy with the way this hardpoint has gone.
Yeah, I mean, this is all off the back end of Metals. 7-5 right now, yes. But, I mean, while Rocker Academy were setting themselves up inside the hardpoint, Metals was able to find an opportunity through the middle of the map and pinch AIM Esports inside of Ivy in the middle of the map. Although they only ended up finding 2 kills, that kept AIM Esports honest as far as their break potential was concerned. And they also ran the route in the back inside of Church. But even though AIM Esports did effectively spawn in towards the read, they recognized that Metals was already in towards the back. Spawns will flip once again here inside P4. You need this to be a strong hardpoint if you're looking from AIM Esports perspective, especially from an SMG standpoint. Eric Boom being 3-8 currently through 3 hardpoints so far is not good enough on a map like Tuscan, Brody.
Yeah, this is what we always talk about when it comes to AIM, right? They're just SMG pressure is just electric, isn't it? But as we're talking about that on screen right now, Lucky 7 in a row, by the way. He is consistently a star player for this Rocker Academy lineup and is once again turning up here in this game. A major reason why they are 40 to 50 points to the good. But it is going to be AIM looking for the last 15 seconds of scrap time. Just the 2 players going for that one in the form of Yakko and Journey, the latter of which has already just fallen. So Yakko here in the 1v1 versus Lucky. You're not going to win it when Lucky is playing on form. And now, perhaps even scarier here for this AIM lineup, it is Rocker Academy who should be touching first on the map's hardpoint. Eric Boom trying to contest it, but he will be shut down. To be fair to AIM, you know, credit where credit is due here. They have momentarily removed Rocker Academy from the fight, but it's not far off here as Sukri tries to find his way back on through. He is just going to look downside at the moment for these gunfights. For the second here, will not find it. It's AIM. They swarm through, and they should be looking for time now.
Yeah, these nades are really on point right now for AIM Esports to really keep Rocker Academy at bay over by Patio's side, and that's going to benefit them for a lot of time, and this is good time when you're looking at it from AIM Esports perspective, time that will bring them right back into this hardpoint game, but 20 seconds still residing here inside P5. You know, Rocker can at least throw a few more bodies at this before they're really trying to take a focus over towards the rotation towards the next set of hardpoints itself. Journey down low for AIM Esports, trying to battle for the scrap of scrap time, but Sukri will get the last laugh That's until Super slides back in for the last 5 seconds. So it'll be about a 20-point lead that Rocker Academy hold going in towards the second set of rotation. But AIM Esports currently hold at least one player over by the Godheady. That's going to be Eric Boom. While you also have players trying to zone away in the middle of the map. Lucky was able to get themselves a glide bomb. Is going to find one player inside of P1. And Rocker Academy are snowballing this rotation out of proportion.
And nicely done by Rocker Academy. This is one of those good uses of a streak that we talk about very often. You know, we kind of question the usage of streaks, but this time around, pretty good coming out of Rocker Academy. And now it's about holding from the back of that streak. Can they get it done? You've got players on a ton of head glitches, and Real and Metal's going to work those perfectly. A wave of kills coming through here for the Rocker Academy side. Now, AIM, you're spawning on the better side of the map. How much more of an effort do you want to put in towards this Ruins hardpoint? Well, Eric Boom, he wins the 1 kill over towards Grass, so he might have an entrance in towards the hardpoint, but unfortunately, he doesn't get past square one, as Lucky going to take him down here. So Rocker Academy, they get a wealth of time that A will be very frustrated with losing. They are very far behind here on Tuscan.
Yeah, and look at him spawning out as well. The route man constantly getting paid in towards the back. It's Metals is just continuously being a thorn in the side of AIM Esports. It always feels like they're just playing from so far behind, and you'd be right to assume so, because this 60-point lead that Rocker Academy currently hold, AIM Esports need to start piecing something together. The slays are not there, but something needs to turn for the better now. Journey, Eric Boom able to find 2 in towards the back. They're zoning away the backside of Column, while Super is just playing on the top of the patio side.
Lucky here has been a threat, and he will be once again looking for 3. Cannot find it against Eric Boom. Fortunately, AIM will not lose their grip of the hard point just yet. Rocker Academy, though, going to be spawning close by. They will not want to give up this 30 seconds of time, and you can see with the amount of effort Sukri is making in from behind that they most certainly are not going to. The first kill versus Eric Boom is there. If they don't get the time, it's not terrible. At least they're taking it away from AIM here in this situation. Metal's able to pick up 1. And Journey, well, he'll be looking for the rotation here as he looks to push through maps. But again, you know, I think we talk about the rotations here at this point in the game, Andy. It really does feel like Rocker Academy, they have been in control for the vast majority of time, and they will be again as the kills come through.
And this was a much-needed break for AIM Esports, right? They bring themselves back within 30. Now you need to try to do it again ahead of 3. But Metals, again, just zoning players away inside of Ruins. He's playing such a precarious position that you would think that AIM Esports would be able to deal with them just very easily. And finally, Eric does find them on the rotation going back towards Ivy. So that's at least 1 kill going forward. But you still have to try to break. The nades need to be on point, and they keep Rocker off the hard point for now.
Sukri with 2 inside fire, though. Again, it's those kills for AIM. They really need them. Yako and Eric Boone, though, they're actually going to trade things out here with some kills for themselves. The pressure is pretty good coming out from AIM, but isn't enough to remove Rocker Academy from the hard point, especially with the overextension coming out from Sukri in towards Vines. And that overextension is actually punished by Journey, but no matter for AIM Esports. They're looking to push this one from the front, and now they have players inside. Yako is currently frozen in a second of time, and, well, he will be taken down eventually. But no matter, again, Eric Boom, Journey, Super, they are here now. And Rocker Academy, they have been unearthed from the hard point. AIM Esports, they are on the tailcoats of Rocker for the moment, but it is, again, the Rocker side who have the rotation.
Yeah, you're currently just watching at least 2 players trying to zone away inside of field. Super needs to get the straight and unlucky. They'll be able to find it. Now that's going to set up the pinch that's coming through from the church alleyway. It needs to be big. The SMGs need to start clicking together, need to start finding these kills, and the collapse is starting to come all the way through. Journey, Super, able to find at least 2 more. The close spawn still very much so in effect for Rocker in the back. Now, AIM Esports more than aware of this. They're finding all the kills inside the hardpoint for the time being, but those close spawns are surely going to win the war of attrition, you would assume, here at the end of the day.
Yako trying to fight this one from the back line. Oh, it does get shut down by Sukri there. Once again, Rocker Academy, they're going to hold on through. Real up top. Journey through the front. Able to get 1. Looking for the second as well. Does do so. So nicely done here from AIM Esports. Journey with 3. Beautifully done. AIM Esports, that is even that, right? Even those 3 kills, the last few seconds of time will be huge. Lucky's having absolutely none of it, though. Goes in for the last 10 seconds. And Rocker Academy edging themselves closer to the 250-point mark. But this time, things are different. AIM Esports, they are the arbiters of maps.
They're able to walk away with about 35 seconds going back towards the first set of rotation. You're hoping for some semblance of success of what they saw in the first set, but got to be able to get the gunfights. You got to be able to find the nades as well. And while AIM Esports are really starting to piece things together here, better late than never, as I always like to say. Super still staying alive inside the hardpoint. Sukri trying to at least mitigate the damage that's being felt. But it always feels like the AIM Esports are constantly just cycling players out from the bottom side of maps. And that's going to pay dividends, at least for them to keep this Rocker Academy roster off of the hardpoint, at least keep them honest for the time being. But the kills need to be there continuously, Brody. And they need to keep Rocker off this hardpoint if they want to really bring themselves back into this game.
Yeah, that's the key thing, isn't it? You know what? They're only 30 seconds or so away, but even so, Rocker Academy, they are just 36 points away from victory here in map number 1. This is not really time you want to give away, and Journey gives his best go at things there on towards a scrap time. Super with the exit frag onto Real is going to make things a little bit easier when it comes to that next rotation, but the bigger problem is, of course, the players are not that far away. And to be fair to AIM, they have a really good setup here. They've got Yakko pushed all the way inside Z. Of course, the pressure on towards Vines is going to make sure Rocker Academy, they stay out a little bit.
The zoning is just not there as well. Now, finally, you're going to see Journey try to push a little bit further forward outside of Vines. They will fly, and he'll find 2, so that'll keep Rocker off the hard point for now. Now it's just about a 5-second game in between these two teams, and Yakko is also picking up the flank as well. This is going to keep Rocker at bay and making them make sure that they take a focus over towards the middle of the map before they can truly break inside of P1. There's not enough time here for AIM to close out the game, but they're going to put themselves damn near close to be able to win the rotation over towards 2 and close it out there if Rocker do not break now.
And this is why AIM, at the moment, you can see themselves setting up that inevitable rotation too. Look at Journey all the way in the back line. He's influenced those spawns. Now Yakko is going to spawn alongside him, and that will give AIM a chance at this rotation. And the best part is they win the opening engagements as well. This is a total breakdown from Rocker Academy. They need to get on through. They've got players in the back line, but you have to hurry up. You can't sit there. Journey all alone inside. Does he get the 250-point mark? No! Real comes through. Super trying to hold on. He will be shut down. Rocker Academy can still fight for this one, but AIM continuing to spawn in the backline. The kills are through. Is it enough? No, still. Rocker Academy, they're not giving up.
And they're holding it from the front as well, Brody. They're still fighting the trades, and the kills are still coming through as well. Nades need to be on point coming forward for AIM Esports, and, well, that's just that's just super awkward. Well, we somehow just lost the feed at the end of a very, very interesting, it was about to be a very clutch moment. I'm not too sure what the score is. All I can tell you is that I'm frustrated that I didn't get to see the end of that.
No!
Sick.
No! What? I can't. That's the end of the hard point, Jacko. Where is it? Oh, goodness me. I feel like I've just lost an episode of Doctor Who.
I've lost
What's going on? I can't.
I've lost full.
All right, look. Oh, okay. All right, listen.
I don't even know the map score to tell you.
We don't even know who won.
Yeah.
AIM for 1 second. Right, let's take this from a mature point of view, Andy. We'll be as mature as possible in this situation. That was a brilliant comeback by AIM. They were down by quite a large margin. And I'll tell you what, to be fair, the amount of times that you and I must have watched comebacks that hinge off of P5 to P1 rotations, we've seen that a ton here in Tuscan Hardpoints on this game.
Yeah, I mean, that rotation, the hold on the P5 there at the end in the rotation over towards 1, we have seen so many teams be able to make that comeback happen since the inception of Vanguard in the beginning of this year. It's just absurd when you're starting to think about just the beginning and the early stages of that hard point. The slays were not on point, but it always feels like that AIM Esports are just one click away from just being able to find the influential kills to be able to win those rotations. It really just came down to dealing with Metals, you would really feel like, who was just always winning those rotations, being the route man, just zoning away the middle of the map continuously. It's just one of those things that you always felt like the AIM Esports just need to try to deal with continuously. They finally start to piece it together, and then they start becoming more proactive, where you start to have Journey and Eric Boom zoning more players away closer towards their spawns, finding the kills galore, and that's just going to pay dividends for them to be able to win rotations.
Alrighty, let's just shut the stats. Andy, I'm so mad. I'm so mad.
I don't know, yeah, I'm actually really pissed that we missed the end of that.
Oh, what is that? What is that? Rocker Academy, 250 to 249. Holy shit. What a game. What a game between these two teams. Let's take this back a moment here, Andy. I can't believe it. I have no idea. We have no idea how the last 20 seconds. We can only kind of presume, right? Because they had the back spawns that they probably just overwhelmed AIM. We've already seen AIM kind of struggling to finish, even though they got like 3 kills in a row. Even then, they just still couldn't get it done. But let's just talk about the stats here then, while we've got them at least. Journey had a good game, 38 and 35 for AIM Esports. I think, overall, to be fair, though, I think this was a good effort from both sides.
Yeah, it was really good. I mean, you're looking at the tails of two different tapes, right? I mean, Lucky was having their way when it came down to as far as an SMG presence is concerned. It was setting up Sukri to be that last player that AIM Esports were having to deal with. 36 and 24, 27 non-traded kills with about 4K damage as the main AR for Rocker Academy was really layering in the pressure. It really did spell disaster for what AIM Esports were trying to piece together, and that's just the SMG pressure that was trying to come through continuously. And you can see it in the KD ratios as well. 20 and 31 for Yako, 21 and 28 for Eric Boom, which is a turnaround if I've ever seen one, because there was at one point where I was
Yes.
highlighting Eric and he was about quad negative at about like maybe like 4 and 12 through the first set of rotations. Being able to come away with 21 and 28 with about 3K damage is something that you can absolutely lean on for AIM Esports. I guess success to say the least. They still lose this map number one, but when it came down to the sequence of hard points from 4 to 5 to 1, that was a lot of Eric Boom and Journey being able to find what seemingly felt like all of the damage in the known universe, being able to open up players like Yako to be able to get inside the hard point and Eric Boom to be able to exist.
Yeah, that was just I have no words, and I have no words. What a map one, even though we only got to see 95% of it. Amy Sports, they almost made the comeback, and they do ultimately get shut down there by Rocker Academy in the end. And you and I were asking before we got into the map, uh, how did Rocker Academy let that through? Because of course, prior to this matchup, AIM had not lost it. They were 5-0 on it coming into playoffs. They must have been feeling extremely confident. And whether that confidence turned into hubris or not, well, I guess we did just see, didn't we? Rocker Academy able to take away the first loss for AIM Esports there on that map mode combination. Blinn Search and Destroy. That is up next, though, Andy. And I think this is actually, a pretty good map for both of the teams. I think both are 3-0 on this one. And I think most crucially, at least from my perspective, I think you take away AIM's biggest superpower when it comes to this map, which is super on the sniper rifle. He is consistently an annoyance that you have to deal with as an opposition. I think this is probably the map where it's least potent.
Yeah, I mean, for Berlin Search and Destroy, we've actually been seeing a lot more teams move away from playing with the sniper rifle more often than not. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, you can still pull it out. You can still find a lot more value when you're thinking about that very long line of sight that either offensively is on the warehouse to the dub steps or vice versa, or just getting a lot of B lane control. You can almost get away with that with an AR. There's a lot more clutch ability, I like to call it, if you have the AR as the last player left alive rather than having to put on a highlight reel with the boomstick. But you're right to highlight Super coming into Search and Destroy. As far as first blood percentages is concerned, he is the overall breadwinner when it comes down to AIM Esports. 62% first blood engagement success rate. But we got to talk about Rocker here, Brody, because Search and Destroy
Yep.
is their wheelhouse, and even being able to quite literally steal that hard point away, although they were leading by 60 points or so, they stole it away there at the final moments. I would probably assume holding P1 from the very front, maybe holding the rotation going over towards 3. I don't know. I didn't get to see it. But going into Search and Destroy, you're definitely looking at a player like Lucky, who's absolutely just been having their way. Again, getting a lot more comfortable as far as a secondary SMG is concerned on a map like Berlin Search and Destroy, where they were notoriously playing with a sniper rifle going back to seasons 1 and 2 with Rocker Academy. Now they're doing it with a submachine gun. They are boasting a 1.28 overall KD on Search and Destroy throughout season 4 of the Elite. And that really does help things out with Metals, who has the overall first blood engagement success rate for this team sitting at about 62%. You need to be wary of this if you are AIM Esports. You can't instigate these first bloods. You have to expect for this Rocker Academy roster to be more aggressive, because that has been their narrative through Search and Destroy throughout the entirety of the season so far. And you just have to catch them in the unforced error.
Yeah, it is incredible, isn't it? For the Rocker Academy, the storyline, I think for Search and Destroy has been something else. I think coming into season 4, you and I were both on the same page that Rocker Academy, we didn't really expect all that much from them out of Search and Destroy. I think the roster change that they made going into season 3 had stunted their growth in S&D quite significantly. It was very obviously their worst game mode in season 3. But season 4, they've come out and I think they've surprised us quite a lot. I think they're now one of the top Search and Destroy teams in Europe. And they clearly have worked on it between season 3 and 4. So props of them. It is most certainly showing in the results for the moment. But, we talk about the kind of the stat lines, as you said, when you look at sort of the non-traded kills, for example. I think when I was looking at the stats, I think it was insane that the entire column was just dark green, that very few of the kills they were actually making in S&D were non-traded. It really is, I think, a testament to just how good this Rocker Academy lineup is in Search and Destroy right now. But you can never quite count out the AIM roster. They've looked good in Search and Destroy. They're still not exactly terrible at it. Of course, again, we even saw improvements for them going into season 3. 3. So we'll see whether those improvements do stand up now moving into Season 4. Of course, we're going to kick things off here with Berlin Search and Destroy. We've got it all in HD for you folks. Don't worry about it. It's all good. AIM going to be kicking things off here on the offense. And they actually have a straight shot towards his A side.
Yeah, there's really nobody to try to deal with this, right? I mean, you at least have Real might be trying to play for a timing inside a Seeker, but they actually take this opportunity to come through broken. Unbeknownst to them, Eric Boom is still top third of Male, but that's what I was worried about, right? The line of sights are being held. They stopped the bomb from being planted. Now, Eric Boom will find that trade under Real, but this A bomb is not safe for a plant.
Indeed, it's not. Still players around here on the defense. Journey's going to go for it anyway. Technically speaking, has the cover here of the site. We'll get it down. So nicely done here. Now, what do they do here on the retake? Rocker Academy do have to be kind of cautious because Eric Boom is sitting and wait. Take these players down as they cross through P5. Metals has him safe, though. There we go. Nicely done from Metals. Now the numbers advantage. 30 seconds on the clock here. Lucky almost makes it a 3 versus 1, but Journey in for the trade. So 2v2 we go now. And these Rocker Academy players here, Andy, going to relocate themselves around through patio side. They're trying to go for a pinch here. Metals has a lot to do. In from behind, able to take down Journey, but they do not know where Super is currently. And that is the one advantage here for Super. And Super should be able to just come from behind here and stop the defuse as long as Slippery isn't watching. He's able to get the kill, and that is a clutch and a half there coming out from Super.
Yeah, and that is just massive when you're thinking about Super just playing against the timing, knowing that he has it on his side just to be able to check the bomb at the utmost right time. But we need to talk about that trade that came through on Real for Eric Boom, right? I mean, being able to clear away your pinch while also leaving at least one player inside top third of Male. That meant that you could at least watch the middle of the map, knowing that these players for Rocker Academy were going to surely rotate off their B defense, if not inside of fire, to maybe take a look at that upper courtyard side. Maybe try to stop that plant from coming through. The moment that it did, AIM Esports, they found the kills required for them to be able to get the bomb planted. And even in that 2v2 situation, came down Sukri trying to coordinate that pinch on the other side of Metals. And they threw some shots. They gave away their positioning. And that was all AIM Esports needed to be able to play their lives.
Alrighty, well, into round 2 we go. It's now Rocker Academy on the offense. And they are once again here going for that A hit. This time around, unlike Rocker and the prior round, AIM have some serious presence here on the site. 2 players sitting inside office. They're ready to go, but fortunately, they get checked there by Real. Eric Boom for the trade. The bomb is at the very least down, but the numbers now most certainly not in AIM's favor.
Oh, it gets mitigated. Eric Boom with a wrap pistol is able to find Metals. Bomb still being carried by Lucky. It's slowly moving its way over towards his AS&D, but Eric is over here. Currently on a 2. He's going to hear a nade, so he's just going to play in that 1-for-1 position behind the desk. And while losing Super is not going to make things any easier, especially with Sukri trying to pinch it from the other side. But Eric Boom looking for a timing outside of the window. Won't see much of anything. He's got to go to try to make sure that he can find these kills. Does well to at least find one, forcing out the 1v1.
Where does Lucky go here on the post plant? That's the question. We're going to presume the fact that Eric Boom would come around the back line. That isn't at all what's happening, though. But Lucky's just going to sit here on boxes. Derek catch him off guard. No, Lucky spots him out and just has a purview of the entirety of the area. That is a good play coming out from Lucky.
Yeah, it is, right? I mean, the bomb being planted for that side. Eric Boom, I mean, you have a 50-50 guess as far as what Lucky is going to start to do, right? If that bomb's planted for the dock side, then Eric Boom would make the right call to at least clear away that entire side. But Lucky plants it, at least for the water building, puts himself just in a very, very outside area. He almost gave himself a good look to maybe become the next, I guess, the Spanish Dashy. If he just moved his stick a little bit to the right, would have taken a little bit of a dunk. But had the angle required, had the read on to Eric, are all tied up one apiece.
Changing things up here, our aim on the offense this time around, and it works out for the better. Eric Boom has already drawn that first blood, but of course, this is a harder site to get a hold of. Easier to defend once you've got the bomb down, though. AIM Esports. Got a couple of players still to deal with. Metals is pushed very far up, by the way. He could do some serious damage, and it's the threat, right? It's the looming threat that somebody is over here.
We're just going to find Sukri for second, excuse me. So in this 2v4, you need somebody to go big. And Real finds one inside the stairs. He's going to get challenged by at least one more player. Super's going to find him. Metals 1v3. This is a good luck, have fun moment. Yako knows what they have to do. Just plant that bomb, extend this round. But Metals might be able to find the exit. He actually... This is just the plant just by a hairline. Bomb will still be planted. Super from the long line of sight will be able to at least find that trade over by the dub steps. And yeah, it's going to constantly be that first blood affair, isn't it? For AIM Esports, especially on their offense, they do well to be able to at least mitigate the pressure that is being laid down by Rocker Academy over by these longer lines of sights. And as long as these trades continuously come through and AIM Esports continue to play with their numbers, it's what's continuously boasting their success across all 3 game modes.
Yeah, it's that first blood. I think that was what we noted the other day when we were looking at this in Desert Siege Search and Destroy between these two teams, right? Very often it was the first blood that was deciding the rounds, and definitely feels like it's the same kind of situation that's arising here between these two teams. Regardless, in towards round number 4 we go. Rocker Academy going to be on the offense once again, and this time they're going back to Yod Faithful straight towards A. Lucky just trying to take some preemptive shots in towards Yakko and Eric Boom, but not much is actually going to connect, and because of that, these players still remain in the bomb site, but Real's getting a lot of information. Nice nade on towards Yakko. That will send him packing, and the bomb site should be theirs for the moment, although again, you just threat constantly present about Eric Boom.
Well, he's going to be able to get behind this desk, and I think he might have been able to see the ankle on at least one player. It's Real, but, I mean, he's just playing around these corners of the glass window. It was meant to set up Journey, who does come through secret. Now he'll find one super for a second. Lucky still holds the bomb in their back pocket. And while Sucre's trying to zone away this B lane, they're trying to get this rotation going over towards B, but Sucre eats a lot of damage. So this bomb, by no stretch of the imagination, can be comfortable to go down, especially with Yakko locking down this B lane.
I think Yakko has just spotted out Lucky, or well, now he has. Lucky's putting some shots down, so Lucky in the 1 versus 3. I think you call these ones good, like, have fun moments, right, Andy? I think that's what you describe them as. 15 seconds.
Oh, yeah. Oh, big
time. Get the bomb down, at least. A machine pistol?
Machine pistol?
Yakko! All right. I respect it.
I haven't seen the machine pistol since, like, I don't know, like the first 2 weeks of this game. But I mean, I'm here for it. I'm truly am here for it.
I just don't. Is it viable? I mean, maybe Yakko knows something we don't. I don't know.
I mean, hey, look, if someone's weak, right? I mean, the spray is going to be there. You know, it's not as good as like the pocket SMG that we had back in Black Ops 4, the RK7, but it is what it is. Whatever it takes, right, Brody? I mean, AIM Esports able to piece together 2 rounds. They break the mold, trading round for round. And Super comes into this on a 4 spree. Again, he has been the Slayer King when it comes down to search and destroy. But first blood this time around will go to Rocker Academy. We'll find Eric Boom on that long line of sight.
That's going to make things tougher now, isn't it, for AIM to get this bomb down? But once again, a very different approach to defending this A site. AIM Esports both times around have had players inside. Rocker Academy have chosen for a bit of a more calm push towards this. Players inside lobby, and it does work out as Sukri has the angle on towards Yakko. Now the 2 versus 4, and these ones, very rarely do teams ever win them. Journey dipping and dodging inside windows and walls, trying to figure out where any of these Rocker Academy players are, but locating them's only half the battle at this point. Seabrook going to get taken down. Journey, you 1v4. This would be a magical moment.
Gonna spray, just hope for the best, but the head glitch on the fire side of the double stairs is going to be too much to bear. And yeah, that first blood on Eric Boom, that opened up the middle of the map just quite wonderfully. When you're thinking about it, you had one island player that was Lucky, or I think it was Sukri actually, that was over by the B lane for Rocker Academy. But regardless of the matter, once you end up locking down the lack of information that was coming through over by the BS and D, you know that it was going to be an AXQ coming through from AIM Esports, because of course it is. They have pushed over towards that site twice on over now for their offensive attempts. The Rocker can just collapse on the play. Nades galore. Sukri now watching that cross. Probably saw just at least one player come on over, but that's not going to dissuade Rocker from trying to commit towards this train S&D.
Yakko drawing first blood might dissuade them, though. It's going to be tougher to get the bomb down now, isn't it? For Real. He's still making a lot of noise, though. There's still more presence around. Metals is pushed very far up here. He's just made a lot of noise. You can see Super sees him. The shot's going down. Super gets that blood against Metals. And now for Real, I would not push this. This is going to have to be a heroic moment for Real. He's all on his lonesome. I think Eric Boom has probably just seen a toe or something as well.
Might not have.
Maybe
Tough
not.
to be able to gauge, especially with the X-ray on. I mean, Real, he is quite literally the definition of stuck up creek without a paddle, because Lucky's watching the middle of the map. He will find Super. That's going to come down to Real to win his 1, but Eric Boom will lock down the headshot. 24 seconds remaining. Lucky needs to quite literally put his skates on, get a crossover towards his A, S, and D. You even saw Yakko there on the X-ray. He's going to put himself second floor of fire. Should see Lucky cross here. Might not have. Doesn't matter. Eric Boom's locking it down.
It's tough in those positions, isn't it? You know, even when you have two of the best search and or the two best search and destroy players on your team up, you know, 2 versus 4, there's not really much you can do. You're hoping some individual heroics. It's just not going to happen. Lucky does get the first kill, right? It's a promising start to a 2 versus 4, but when Eric Boom falls, I think it just leaves the realms of possibility, or at least probability anyway. 4-2 up now are Amy Sports, and so far they seem to have favored the A site. Do they change up their strategy here? And they might well have done. It seems like that's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, they're going to start lobbing some nades across this BS&D. Some shots came through across the warehouse. But Metals, he's been the first blood king for Rocker Academy across their entire escapade of 70% win percentage. But it was just a bait play. All of AIM Esports, they threw the util over towards B. They're executing towards A.
Oh, and I thought it didn't work for a second there. Sukri had an eye on it, but he loses the opening gunfight. How much presence do Rocker Academy have here now? They've got one player, it seems, over by Patio side. Can't quite see who that is. But do they swing back? Is the plan to swing back across to A? I mean, it's a brave plan, considering by this point, Rocker Academy have presence in the middle of the map, and that presence is Metals. So if they do this, it needs to be a solid kit, but I think they're just kind of weighing up their options at the moment, trying to get a feel for where exactly Rocker Academy are located on the defense. And here goes Metals. Oh, that is tough. Call of Duty timing to a T. And Lucky now 1v4. Yeah, you got a lot to do, buddy. And that's not happening.
Just back Call of Duty time for timing for two different Rocker Academy players. This is about to throw all my notes out the table because, I mean, this AIM Esports are looking a lot more clinical on the search and destroy comparatively to what I was assuming was going to be Rocker Academy's bread and butter. As far as the game mode is concerned, same to be said about that Tuscan Hardpoint. Really felt like that first set of rotations is going to be better for AIM Esports. But, hey, I mean, when you got Eric Boom having themselves a whale of a time, 8-5, Super at 8-4, because of course they are. It's just very tough to be able to deal with Rocker Academy trying to find these trades, trying to really force these timings out from their SMG players of both Metals and Real. It's just not coming up in their favor. Offensive attempt coming through. They're splitting the map so far through the middle, but Yako is trying to get a little bit too big for their bridges in the middle of the map. Lucky will make sure that is not going to come through.
First blood for Rocker Academy here. Second as well for Real. They should be feeling pretty comfortable at the moment to getting the bomb down. And they've got players in high places as well. Metals pushed all the way through towards the mail room. Lucky going to take down Journey. Super 1v4. Well, if any player was going to do it, it most certainly would be Super, their highest performing search and destroy player. But even still, a 1v4 is, yeah, it's a reach, isn't it? He has a lot to do here, especially with the bomb down.
Oh, he's just going to cook the nade.
Yep.
Sayonara. He is out of here. No reason to try to give Rocker Academy any sort of idea that maybe they can get themselves some streaks. Just might as well use the rounds that you have as far as Elite is concerned. Just go in towards the next offense because it has been working out quite well for them as far as their baits and executes are concerned. But most importantly, I mean, they're just catching Rocker Academy in timing, so just trying to rotate into more favorable positions when AIM Esports are in their offensive rounds. And it's starting to look like a rinse, wash, repeat of what we saw in their previous offense. Nades over the top. You got 3 players trying to go over towards this B lane. Mailroom control is here. But do they fully execute towards this BS&D?
Seems to be the plan, although no, in AIM, they could just swing back and forth between the bomb sites before they settle. Certainly worked out last time around, didn't it? You said it's been thrown, but this time, things are different. Timeline has changed. Metals able to take down Yako. And now 3 versus 4 for AIM. That bomb don't progress just yet, especially with Metals around this site.
They know that they're trapped inside here as well. The information is mutual. They know that Metals is down here by the BS&D, but the communication is here for Rocker Academy. You got players rotating back over side of Fire, but they can't over-invest. They got to make sure that they watch the middle of the map because AIM Esports can still very much so rotate over towards A, but the bomb carry being Journey, he's trying to play for this BS&D plant.
I get it. Depends if Metals peaks this or not and how much cover he's receiving from a teammate. And the cover is there, but it isn't solid. Journey will fall. The bomb is now stuck in a really hard place for the retrieval. And Rocker Academy collapse onto the site. Metals does so much in that round.
Yeah, again, you know, Metals hopping in towards this the search and destroy through Season 4 of the Elite specifically is 19-12 for first blood win percentages. That's 61% for all my mathematician scientists out there. And it's just something like that you're constantly seeing, just putting themselves in very aloof positions, continuously switching it up. SMG, AR, AIM Esports just need to constantly have an answer. These nades need to be there to be able to find the information. It does not spot out Metals. He finds the wall bang shots on Yako, and it keeps all of AIM Esports trapped inside of Mail.
Alrighty, well, Rocker Academy have 3 rounds on the bounce. Looking for a fourth to send us to around 11. And I've looked here for an A push, but once again, it is AIM who have got themselves entrenched into the A bomb site. This has been a really successful strategy for AIM so far. Will Rocker Academy fall foul to it once again? That's the question.
Comes down to being able to check the small room because Yako is in that clutch positioning, and also maybe the pinch that could come through over by the alley stairs. Metals will find Super. Now, that was towards the middle of the map, so this is going to force Rocker Academy to try to execute over towards A. They think that they have the numbers, but they could very much so rotate out with this time.
Oh no! Yako gonna fall as well. 2v4. Eric Boom has to do something about this. And Metal's falling. Yeah, he's already made noise by this door, by the way, so they know exactly where he is. He's gonna take down Sukri. This is still possible. 30 seconds left, but can he get it done? The shot's going through. Lucky just gonna back away for the moment here. The bomb has already made its escape towards B, and it will go down. So an extension of the round. Eric Boom, though, still in with a chance if he can slip the net. Play all sneaky-like. But he has to locate these players, and it's just so tough. There's so many hidey spots around this back area, and goes for the gunfight against Metals inside Warehouse. It is time for that round 11 we were talking about. Rocker Academy have surged back into the SS&D.
Yeah, they really have. I mean, there's a lot of rounds that come through by way of the first bloods. This is what Rocker Academy have done so well through this season of the Elite specifically. They do well to be able to read the tendencies and adapt to what AIM Esports are constantly being thrown at them. I mean, what I was talking about a few rounds ago when this was a 5-2 scoreline, Eric Boom, Super were just leading the entire lobby. They've become non-benefactors as Rocker Academy have been putting themselves in very, very nice positioning, specifically Metals and Lucky, to be able to find these first bloods, to be able to make sure that AIM Esports do not have the pressure going forward.
And AIM Esports, once again, they're dealing with the same kind of strategy from Rocker Academy. This time around, there's a change in strategy from AIM. Journey and Super pushing very far up here to make sure the first blood does not go Rocker's way, and it works. But the trade is through. Real going to take down Journey here. 3v3 we go. Yako's going to get this bomb down. What's the reaction like from Rocker?
Yako gets out. Now Yako can play their life on the other side of this glass wall. 3v3 for the retake. Nade's coming through. But Eric Boom's hitting a little bit of a flank through the alleyway. Shaky shots, but at least gets the information on where Metals is located at. Real trying to fish out the trade. He will find Yako, knows where the other player is at over by the alleyway, but they need to break inside the SS&D and start this defuse.
And Real's going straight for the kill versus
What a read.
Super. What a call where that player is now. Eric Boom, 1v3.
Whoa.
Gets lucky as well, but does not get Metals. It's 4 rounds straight from Rocker Academy to get themselves a victory here in game number 2. And trust me, if we were on LAN, AIM Esports, their head would be sunk straight into their hands right now. That is not how you want the S&T to go.
No, it's not at all. You were up 5-2. You had many different opportunities to try to close it out, but you allowed Rocker Academy to work their way back in towards that search and destroy. Specifically, you allowed Metals to get inside of their head rent-free. Through the first about 5-6 rounds or so, Metals was playing with a submachine gun in hand, trying to fish out those first bloods defensively inside of Mail. He switches to an AR. He starts playing those longer lines of sights with Lucky specifically, but is still fishing out those first bloods, making sure that the SMG presence is not there as much as it was through those early or through those former rounds on that Berlin search and destroy. Just beautiful adaptations coming through from Rocker Academy to really bring those 4 rounds home.
I can't believe what we've just seen. This series is insane so far. A 250-249 hardpoint, a 6-5 search and destroy, both going the way of Rocker Academy. Let's show you guys the stats as they currently stand at the end of that one. And Rocker Academy. I think that's a very late resurgence from Real, by the way, as well, because I think Lucky early on was the one that was playing very well for Rocker Academy, but it seems like the rest of the team really started to pick things up towards those final 4 rounds.
It's something to be talked about with Real finishing at 11-7 here on the Berlin Search and Destroy. Brody, as far as Season 4 of the Elite is concerned, he actually is the #1 KD holder when it comes down to Search and Destroy at a 1.62. So it's not the utmost surprising. I think what was more surprising is how uncomfortable Real looked as far as the opening rounds were concerned. But you got to see there just at the very end, just the reads, the 5-head, you just really feel like that is the reason why Real keeps the hairstyle that he does. His brain is just way too big for his cranium at this moment of time when it comes down to Search and Destroy. Even when Rocker Academy were playing with Journey was normally that instigative player, but Real has stepped up in a big way for this Rocker Academy roster, which is why they are the #1 Search and Destroy team here in Europe.
Alrighty, well, Rocker Academy 6-5. How about that one? Amy Sports will be upsetty spaghetti about the way that search and destroy went. They're going to have a bit of go of things in the control. The good news, historically speaking, they have not been a bad control team, but they have regressed over the last season, and they need to get back to their old form right about now. We're going to send to a quick break. When we return, we're going to have that control after this. Alrighty, guys, we're back now with map number 3 here between AIM Esports and Rocker Academy. Could be the final map as well, and what has been a surprising turn of events. I think, Addy, you and I are kind of mind-blown at how things have gone so far, but in towards Berlin control we go. And it is AIM starting things off here on the offense. They didn't want to gamble off the rip. They've gone straight towards B.
Yeah, there's no reason to try to play with your food going forward. You need to guarantee this map number 3 and try to extend this series as best as humanly possible. AIM Esports trying to assault this B zone is not really going up in their favor. I mean, they do get themselves at least that first segment. I'm not too sure if that second segment did come through, but Rocker doing a bang-up job of just making sure that they're finding the kills, making sure that AIM Esports, albeit, might be able to get this B zone. They're not going to be able to get all of the map positioning in the world. As soon as I say that, though, Yako's actually starting to put together a little bit of a flank to maybe get on towards this A zone. Needs to activate themselves because AIM Esports are struggling to even try to get themselves on B.
Yeah, this is Rocker Academy at the moment on the defense here. They're entrenching themselves very far in, but look at how far Yako has to come back here to kind of save his team from the depths of a spawn trap, and even then, he isn't exactly able to get it done. Yako does end up falling, and now for Rocker Academy here, they should lose B. Super able to get 2 towards the train yard, and yeah, B has fallen by the wayside. Another 60 seconds added to the clock here, and now AIM can solely focus on A, but they're at least fortunate here that Rocker Academy haven't set up this spawn trap. Metals, though, could still do some damage. Has the support of Sukri, they're able to get some kills together, and well, Rocker Academy here doing well on the defense at the moment.
Only a single life lead, 60 seconds added on towards the board. Journey's already in towards the back. Just comes down to the timing he's going to be able to find for himself. But I mean, just as soon as you're trying to play for these timings and towards the back, I mean, Rocker Academy are not afraid to get their hands dirty. Metal pushes forward, but they will be traded out. Yako also finds Sukri inside of the train station. So now this push is starting to come together, especially with Journey just playing in an isolated corner over by this upper courtyard.
It's very easy to get pushed back as well, especially as these kills start to come through. Journey can do so much damage here, flies down, but doesn't have enough bullets to finish the gunfight. Fortunately, he has Eric Boom as a backup, and now that progress is starting to be made. One player down, so it is now just Yako and Super in the point for the moment. Is that enough? For AIM Esports, one of those players falls. Now just Yako, and he has fallen as well. So just shy of that third tick progression coming through. Rocker Academy, they are able to secure the point on the defense, but it's risky ground to be standing on, right? We see it very often. Just one tick of aggression is now all that AIM require.
50 seconds remaining. They can very much so do this. And Rocker Academy, they need to make sure that nobody from AIM Esports gets in from the backside of fire. Again, it just always feels like that is just one flank that just constantly is being sniffed out for AIM Esports. You can start to see Journey is trying to play with that as well, but the success needs to be there from the front side of the train station, and it's just not coming up in spades this time around. Journey gets scouted out inside of fire. Players being dropped in the front side of train. 27 seconds remaining, 8v8. This is AIM's last attempt.
Indeed it is. Yako, secret weapon here for AIM Esports. I think that Rocker Academy have players watching that line of sight, so they're going to have to go for a more direct approach here. Lucky, he is ready for it. He picks up both Yako and Journey. Just the one player to deal with now in the form of Super, and can he get anything done? He does pick up the first kill versus Metals. It makes the situation relatively realistic, especially as we're still in the 4v4, by the way. This is still possible, but somebody needs to jump on the point. Super getting these kills is not enough, and they spent too much time looking for the support in gunfights. Rocker Academy do enough to hold on towards the point.
5 total segments of progression do come through, and that again, you know, just needs to be continuously marked on continuously when it comes down to a potential for a round 5 defense. Berlin control again is kind of like that black sheep in the flock, where you can really start to piece together a lot more offensive rounds comparatively to say your Tuskens and Gavutus, but even more so than that, Rocker need to try to piece it together. This has not been a good map mode combination for them. They struggle to be able to get themselves offensive rounds. Is only on average their differentials at about a 1.5. They're trying to get themselves over towards the B zone first. A lot of focus in towards the middle of the map, and that allows Journey to find themselves a timing through that B lane. They were able to find at least one. Eric Boom will win the boxing match versus Metals inside the staircase. That'll push Rocker Academy back towards the spawn off the rip.
This is not too bad, actually, to be fair for AIM. They are pushing Rocker Academy pretty far back. They should at least have some players, though, for Rocker on towards B. I like this from AIM. They're putting a lot of emphasis on towards train. They do not want to lose any progression on towards A early on. But now the Rocker side starting to put together this push on towards B. They've got one player on the point for the moment, one player watching P2. Metals looking to overextend in towards train. Does get shut down. So now for AIM, going to have to take this one from the front. Players in the back line, Sucre just making sure nobody flanks, but now, can they get it done? Real Metal's going to start to pick up some gunfights here. That first tick of aggression should come through. I think for Rocker, this is pretty successful, at least for the moment. They haven't dealt with Super though, and he could completely pull apart this push. There's the first kill, looking for the second, playing ring around the rosy inside the offices, but it doesn't matter. Super gets it done. Eric Boom with another one as well, and what looked like a dangerous position here for AIM Esports is now a pretty safe one.
Yeah, hey, it absolutely is, right? Because that second segment doesn't come through. Only half of it does progress itself. And now AIM Esports can keep cycling players out. Look at the minimap as well. I mean, they have players just outside of the B zone. You also have Journey that is playing over by the water building with an SMG in hand. They get the call. They push on forward. They will be traded out. Finally, you get at least some players on this zone if you are Rocker Academy. But AIM Esports, with a 2-life lead, they could very much so still hit this.
Indeed, they can. 16 seconds, by the way, on the clock. I think the Rocker Academy should be able to get the extra 60 seconds, and there you go. They do. So that extra 60 seconds coming on the clock. There's even some kills as well for Rocker Academy. Super still looking to push the point. And there is actually potential here, considering AIM spawn up over towards lobby, for Rocker Academy to make a quick swing across towards A. Lucky needs to do a lot of damage here, though. He's only able to get one, looking for the second, and Lucky knows exactly when to hit these things. He gets the second kill through, and now Rocker Academy in for an opportunity. Lucky does get shut down, so just down a Real close by, and he falls as well. So Rocker Academy at the moment, they may be falling one by one, but they do still have a little bit of pressure, especially Metals. Still, as always, has that potential to come in from behind and do some serious damage.
Yeah, Metals is that route man, right? But Eric Boom off the respawn will find him just a little bit of disjointed, right? I mean, Metals does well to at least find one over by the upper courtyard, but everybody else from Rocker Academy already completely fell over when it came down to that assault over by the A zone. So now we're back to square one, but you're still trying to fish out this fire pressure. It's going to be Sukri, who has an SMG, by the way. He hits going on forward. Lucky almost turns on to Eric. The trade needs to be there. Metals does well to find it, but the kills need to still come through. Finally, you're able to find it, and now you just have one more respawn for AIM Esports. The nades need to be on point for this recontest.
And you've got players pissed up as well. AIM Esports have to be conscious of this. Sukri is ready to explode onto these guys. He gets one, does not get the second, but the supporting gunfights are through. This should well be it. AIM Esports down to their last couple of lives. That last player will fall. I do not believe they get it down by the ticks. So that is at least a positive there. But I mean, are there really any positives you can take away from this current situation? Rocker, now 2-0 up. They got the offense done.
Yeah, I mean, what's a simplistic reverse sweep in the control to start the reverse sweep in a best-of-5 series for AIM Esports, right? I mean, especially when you got Super that's piecing at 16 and 12. This goes back to the conversation we had on that Tuscan Hardpoint, that you're just not getting enough productivity from your Flex and your 2 SMGs. Yako at 11 and 12 is just simply not good enough. Eric Boom at 10 and 17 is just not going to be good enough. Not when Metals is 22 and 14. He will be first-blooded for this round, but AIM Esports need to be very careful. I mean, they're throwing a lot of lives away where they don't necessarily need to. Even the lineup's going to be there for Real to be able to find 2, but the segments are still being tacked on over. The second's surely going to be there for AIM Esports on B.
You never know. Rocker Academy won't be ones to give up this lightly. They will not, as Metals comes through to pick that gunfight versus Yako. However, still, AIM, they have presence over here. Super looking to hold on. He does get shut down. So next up back here for this roster will be Eric Boom and Yako. And Yako's already fallen, by the way. So AIM will continue to spawn in the backline. But Rocker Academy, they have threats around the point. Those threats will fall. So now AIM Esports should be able to get this point done. I think for Rocker, the smartest thing you could do here in this situation, get players entrenched inside the train yard. Make sure that AIM spawn all the way towards the top right in the minimap. But they do have players that have already filtered in from behind. So that plan might not exactly go as they expect.
Yeah, and you also have a nice little escapade that's being pieced together by Journey, but the trades are constantly going to be there. Rocker Academy do so well compared to what AIM Esports did not do in their previous defenses. They chalk the B zone. They want to make sure that they hold this life lead ahead of this A zone defense. And they're very aware that Eric Boom is still in towards the back, but the pressure from the front needs to be a continuous amount of success. This is what AIM Esports struggled with in their previous offenses, and just as soon as we start talking about it, the kills come through on the front side of train station. They find Eric Boom in towards the back. And you got Lucky that's playing on the top side of Warehouse of all places. I mean, just finding one kill, it's just buying so much time for AIM Esports to try to find this one player before they can even think about getting close towards the A zone.
And that's ultimately what this is, right? It's just wasting time for Rocker Academy. There's still, what, 1 minute left on the clock or so, 1 minute, 10 seconds. That's a fair amount of time for AIM to get this done. But, for Rocker Academy, just continue to send players in behind, just be an annoyance towards this AIM side. But they have broken past that first barrier. They do still have one player in behind looking to cause some problems. That was Sukri, who's able to get one kill. But it isn't actually enough to keep AIM out of the point just yet. Yakko has pushed all the way through, but is he enough? That's the question. He needs to do more there, and he just simply cannot. AIM, they do not have the pressure on the point. Rocker Academy doing a stellar job at the moment at keeping these guys out. Everything is not looking so great with 40 seconds left. 17 versus 7. There's only a couple of hits left here for AIM.
Yeah, I mean, this needs to be flawless going forward because you only have 3 respawns remaining versus the 16 of Rocker Academy. That one player that's pushed up inside of Secret at the very least, but Metal stiffs him out. So now this is going to be the one-dimensional hit coming through the alleyway over by train station. Super finds one, but more kills need to come through. You need to make this push start happening right now if you are AIM Esports, but Sukri shuts it down over by the alleyway, finds all 3, and that'll surely put AIM Esports to rest.
Yeah, this one might be done. AIM Esports might be looking at a loser's bracket run, and I think they are. Yakko's put his controller down. These players at the moment just looking to pad their stats. We're getting ready for easy Mac here as Secret going to pick up 1 kill, but this one is done. Rocker Academy 3-0 in the control. A statement start to the Season 4 playoffs. They will go up against Warvobs in the next round of play. He also, by the way, got a 3-0 versus War.
Yeah, they did. No, I mean, not as convincing, I would say, on the control, which was also on a Berlin, keep in mind you, but I'm just appalled, right? I mean, when you go back to that map number 1, which we missed the ending on, they win by a single point where you have AIM Esports clawing their way back from the deficit. But I mean, what was so alarming in that control is that AIM Esports were constantly putting themselves in the driver's seat to be able to even close out the offensive round as well as their defensive attempt as well. It just comes down to almost, and I really hate to bring this up again because I was ready to rip my man bun out going back to a Gavutu control back in season 1 of Challengers Elite, but it almost feels like what Rocker Academy were doing on a Gavutu control continuously. Why are we throwing so many lives away on that B zone defense? Yes, you were able to shave away the clock once that 60 seconds did get tacked over to about 1:15, but you're throwing way too many lives away if you're AIM Esports. You had about a 4 or 5 life lead. And then by the time that you're trying to play for exits, you lose those players that are pushed up. And now that gets mitigated all the way to about 2. You have allowed Rocker Academy to bring themselves back in towards that offensive round. And you allowed them to get middle of the map control, get in the backside of fire, cycling players out over by the alley staircase. It just, the pressure was constantly coming through. And it always felt like that AIM Esports were playing from behind because they truly were. You always felt like that when they were coming off the spawn, offense or defense, they had to be able to find at least 2 kills because Rocker Academy were always trying to threaten those line of sights, and we're walking away with the kills more often than not.
Yeah, let's take a look at the stats then for everybody at home. We can show you guys exactly what happened there, what went right for Rocker Academy. We'll try not to focus too much on the AIM Esports roster and kind of the stats that don't look as favorable. Of course, we are technically missing 1 player, but we'll kind of put that to the side for just a moment. But looking over towards the Rocker Academy side, I want to chat about Metals specifically because we talk about Metals all the time, and I would say it definitely shows out in the statistics that he's not the most explosive player, but this is one of those maps where he has absolutely turned up or was a key player here for this Rocker side.
I mean, Metals had themselves
as well.
Yeah, I mean, how can you not talk about
Right.
Sukri? I mean, 23 and 15, 18 on traded kills as well. You want to talk about a KD ratio? The only one that might be able to rival that as far as lack of deaths was Real, but he was 17 and 14. He was just kind of kicking his feet up, having himself a laugh because, I mean, Metals and Sukri were just finding all of the kills. But I want to talk about Metals as a whole because he had himself a fantastic series here. Again, I walked into the season 4 of the Elite, and we were talking about, the role swap, Lucky coming over to the SMG, dropping the AR. You trade Sukri for Journey for AIM Esports. You get a new main AR, sure, a new secondary SMG, whatever. I was sitting there looking at Metals and saying, this guy needs to step up in a big way. Do not sleep on Metals as much as everybody has been giving him flack through many different years. Kind of being in the shadow for a lot of his teammates that he's been playing with this specific team, I would say, add in Journey and maybe even Yakko towards the end of the Cold War season. He has stepped up very, very big for this team. I mean, you want to talk about a guy with the number 1 or one of the very high first blood win percentages in the search and destroy. He was fishing them out continuously. You're in the control, instigating and layering in the pressure, but Metals is winning so many more gunfights here in season 4 of the Elite than we have seen them win throughout the entire year. 29 and 18, 3K damage. It's just absurd how much more comfortable Metals does look on the map. now here in season 4 of the Elite after the role change happened last season.
Yeah, look, we've given a lot of flack, I think, to Rocker Academy. Both you and I have said it, on broadcast, and I still, I'm still not entirely convinced, right? I think, we've seen the positives here for Rocker Academy, but we'll see how they go. If Rocker Academy are looking to get back towards their season 1 form, this is a good first step here in season 4 playoffs. But I do want to talk about the series on the whole there, because I think this 3-0 doesn't exactly do justice to the Amy Sports side. I will say that much. Of course, they made a stellar comeback again. We didn't get to see the conclusion of Tusk and Hardpoint, but we can talk at the very least about how much of a comeback they made. They were down by a ton of points moving into the P5 Hardpoint. And of course, we talk about sort of the importance of a P5 to P1 rotation. We saw it there where they were able to make a great comeback. They even had control of P2, but again, we didn't exactly manage to see how they lost map number 1. I just think that map number 2 is what's going to be gnawing at the back of their minds, right? I mean, you've just lost 4 rounds in a row. You should have won that search and destroy. I think that there is no excuse whatsoever for AIM. I think, they'll be kicking themselves at, hey, look, we should be looking at, 2-1 up in the series, moving into the control. I mean, the control, they got trounced. But, in the rest of the series, it's pretty close.
Well, I mean, as far as the hard point is concerned, AIM Esports did come back from what was it, about like
Yeah,
a 65-point deficit or
it was a
so,
lot.
being able to win P4, then P5. And as you were talking about the rotation going over towards 1, it just came down to being able to get those players before we ended up getting or losing our feed, I would say. Over towards P2, just being able to deal with those last returning players. But Rocker Academy did, again, what I would assume is another fantastic job at just holding that hard point from the front. But regardless of the matter, yeah, we should have absolutely be loading into a map number 4 at the very least of a Gavutsu hardpoint, because I don't want to say that AIM Esports kind of threw away that search and destroy
They
on
did.
Berlin, but
They
it was
did.
an absolute breakdown, Brody. I will say that much. I
Yeah.
mean, there is just no reason why the stuns, the nades just constantly are not going to be at least looked at in a different direction. I saw Yako throw the same nade 3 times over. It just always felt like it was the same rehearsal over and over and over again for AIM Esports, comparatively to at least maybe putting in the back of their back of their mind that maybe, just maybe, there could be a Rocker Academy player to change their positioning once or twice on over. That was Metals continuously just always changing their weaponry, always changing their positioning, fishing out those first bloods, and it made Real's job that much easier to be able to really bounce off of that first blood that either Metals or Lucky was finding for themselves, and then Real was finding the timings either through train station in the middle of the map and just layering on the pressure, just making sure that AIM Esports felt trapped. It was an absolute breakdown continuously that the nades and stuns did not keep Rocker at bay, if not the information was not constantly being provided for AIM Esports where Rocker were setting up at.
Yeah, indeed. What a first series for us here, or just for everybody, for Call of Duty Challengers Elite Season 4 playoffs in Europe. But that's us done for our coverage of Challengers Elite here in Europe. It's been a splendid, mate. This is our final cast of Challengers Elites this season. It's been awesome. For everybody, thank you so much for everybody's support for Clutch. Thank you to all of our wonderful people. Of course, we should say that we are not technically done fully. We have North America later on for a Clutch broadcast. You guys can go check that out. I think it's 6:30 Eastern is when that should be kicking off, or 11:30 BST. For those of you guys do want to watch that, that is going to be great. You trust me, you don't want to miss it. And of course, if you guys do want to see the conclusion of Call of Duty Challengers Elite Season 4 playoffs here, and you can keep yourselves attached to the youtube.com/COD Challengers broadcast, where I believe a lower round 1, I think, is the next match on the schedule, unless I'm fried, which, to be fair, I think Andy, you and I, we have had our brains firmly fried.
You're right. You're right. At the very least,
I'm
it is
right.
lower
Wow.
round 1 that is coming through. So I mean, Team War are going to be going up against AIM Esports. They're doing their map ban and veto process right now. It's just crazy to think about that. It is Team War versus AIM Esports down here in the lower bracket, bouncing away from an 0-3 loss. Now they have to immediately go back, try to at least have some sort of a return as far as what VOD. They might be able to go back. Some communication needs to be there as well, because now these two teams, well, one of them are about to be going home, and we very much so might be looking at a different champion, unless Rocker Academy are truly just the final boss away from that Cup number 13 victory, that they could be the number 1 team to beat, albeit not the number 1 seed away from round robin stage. They are certainly looking to be in final form yet again.
That should be interesting for sure. I think if a Wobbabobs are able to win out this entire thing, I wonder how that kind of shake up seeding for the inevitable Challengers finals. as well, right? There's always that at the back of our minds. If you win an elite, it puts you in good stead to come out on top for one of those top four seeds that automatically qualifies you for Challengers finals this year. So, that's something to keep an eye on, especially as well with Boston coming up. That's the big other kind of question mark for a number of these teams. You want to perform well at that LAN event, and I think for Rocker Academy and AIM, that's something you'll definitely want, considering that hasn't been the best on that particular front this season thus far. But Annie, any final words here before we sign off?
Just to kind of echo what you were just talking about as well, if there's one team, again, this is something that we didn't end up talking about at the beginning of this broadcast. If there's one European team that might be able to argue to take away that fourth global seed overall from Rocker Academy, it is actually AIM Esports. Surprisingly, the top four seeds are both Ultra Academy rosters. You also have Team War, and then Rocker Academy is rounding
Right.
out the top four. Getting the pro points from Cup number 13, that's fine. That's all dandy, but it's not as much pro points walking away from Season 4 Challengers Elite Champion. That needs to be what AIM Esports are looking at, plus a top four finish at the very least. But most importantly, Brody, they need to make sure that they finish above Rocker Academy by all stretch of the imagination. They want to make sure that even Rocker Academy can go out at third here in Challengers Elite Season 4, that they hope that they lose to Wubbububs, and then they end up beating them in the return match down in lower finals. But even more so than that, they want to make sure that they also have a great Boston event, because they could actually make an argument. It's in between both them and whatever it takes. Maybe even this noisy team that just got put together not even about 48 hours ago, that might be able to make the argument for that fourth global seed. So yeah, it's a tight photo finish race there that's going to be coming around for champs for the overall 8 teams. Most importantly, what I'm saying, you don't want to be playing through the LCQ. That's what AIM Esports are looking at.
Yeah, that's a grueler. For one spot is all that Europe is going to get there. I say all that Europe's going to get. Europe is going to get 3 spots from the automatic qualifications. Like, I'm smiling. This is not because I'm European, all right? I promise there's no bias here from the casting. Anyway, regardless, before I dig myself a hole, Andy, yeah, it's a race for sure. I cannot wait. I know that everyone's probably fed up of us babbling on. So what I'll do is I'll sign off the broadcast. Thank you again, everybody, for tuning in here to our clutch broadcast of Call of Duty Challengers Elite for Season 4 and for the entirety of the European season. Again, if you guys want to watch the conclusion of Call of Duty Challengers Elite playoffs for Europe, you guys can go check that out at youtube.com/COD Challengers. Otherwise, Clutch will return later on tonight at 6:30 Eastern with North American playoffs. See you then.